Just as it was last night, partly cloudy skies, but the rain has stayed away, and we've got a very comfortable evening in mid-April for the Red Sox and the Cardinals. 4-9 Boston so far, the worst record in Major League Baseball. Got off to that terrible start before recovering with a couple of victories in Milwaukee this past week. Roman Anthony is in the DH slot tonight. Young Caleb Durbin at third, and then Jarren Duran will get the start in left. Contreras, the former Cardinal. Abreu's off to a good start. Story, Meyer, Narvaez, and Rafaela. They'll round it out for Boston against the 3-year reliever turned starting pitcher full-time this season. That's Kyle Leahy, the right-hander.
Yeah, for Kyle, and working up his innings and trying to get through the lineup a third time. He doesn't do that very often. There's the breakdown of his pitches. He has a very good complement of pitches. Maybe not too many swing and miss type pitches, but nonetheless, use his defense, throw strikes.
We'll throw any of those pitches in just about any count. And as a former reliever, he continues to work out of the stretch, and he'll deal to Roman Anthony. Off we go at 6:15 local time here in St. Louis, Missouri. Anthony took his first day off yesterday after the day off on Thursday. Took his first game off last night, so off his feet for a couple of days. Back in the leadoff spot, and he'll take a fastball at the top of the zone, and it's quickly 0-2 on the young burgeoning superstar potentially for the Boston Red Sox after his fine performance in the WBC.
Yeah, that WBC will go a long way for him as far as who he was around. Maybe not for the timing and the perfect start to a season offensively, but everything else is a plus.
Foul tips that one, and Pages could not hold on to it behind the plate.
This is a young man that maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago wouldn't be a leadoff hitter. He'd be more of your middle of the lineup, drive the ball, power, but he gets on base and controls the strike zone. That's where the Red Sox like him, at the top of the lineup in the, I guess you could say, new age lineup construction.
Just 21 years of age at the top of this Boston order. Fouls it back, stays alive, still 0-2. Second round pick in 2022, and has already signed a long-term extension over the next 9 years. Alex Cora said from the get-go that Roman Anthony was going to be the leadoff hitter this season. And there's a breaking ball, and he goes around for into the crew chief Bill Miller at third. So one away. Here is the St. Louis defense. Fermin in the left. Scott is outstanding in center. Walker is in right. They're filling in at third with Gorman right now after Arenado went to Arizona. Sajaci is starting at short. Mason Wynn was hit with a pitch last night. He's going to get an extra night off tonight. Weatherholt and Arias on the right side. Arias moving over with Pages behind the plate. And here is young Caleb Durbin taking a strike. Much like the Cardinals, the Red Sox having to fill in their spot at third base. They got Durbin from Milwaukee. He, like a lot of the Red Sox, are off to a cold start offensively. Quickly behind, 0-2.
Yeah, this is pound, and getting ahead 0-2 to the Red Sox hitter who last year they were a pretty good offensive team.
Bouncing ball to the right side for Arias. Gold Glover at third for the Baltimore Orioles a few years ago. Playing first base tonight with Burleson getting the night off, and they're quickly 2 down.
Unfortunately for the Red Sox offensively, they have really struggled. It's been their offense has come from the outfielders. Certainly has not come from their infielders. Look for that to change, of course. And the guy at the plate right here, I just think the world is on his back, and if he can relax and play baseball, the tools he has are incredible.
It's Jarren Duran. 9 pitches, 9 strikes to start the night for the former reliever Kyle Leahy, who made the start in the season finale last year. That was the first time he'd started at the big league level and started professionally after 97 major league appearances out of the bullpen, and now making his third start of the season this year. A loss against the Mets, a win on the road in Detroit, and he has a chance to finish off a 1-2-3 inning here. With an 0-2 to Duran, and there's the first one out of the zone on his first 11 pitches.
Yeah, with 2 strikes, he has a high percentage of off-speed pitches. You saw one right there, and Close to 8 out of 10 are going to be out of the zone. He's trying to get that chase with 2 strikes.
One-two. Duran will take one close, but a little inside and low. Not missed by much.
Later in the game, maybe. Who knows? Challenge.
Perhaps. Duran rolls it to the second baseman in Weatherholt, and a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Leahy to begin his night. Cardinals got the win last night. They'll face Ranger Suarez tonight. For Ollie Marmol, now in his 5th season, tasked with taking care of what is the youngest roster in Major League Baseball. J.J. Weatherholt, though, making his MLB debut this season. He's been the leadoff man and has gotten off to a great start. Walker's hitting in that 3 spot. And Gorman, Urias, Fermin, Sajaci with Win out. Pajes and Scott with all that speed at the bottom of the order. They'll take on Ranger Suarez, who had some rocky moments in the WBC for Venezuela, and so far a tough start at Houston and a loss against the Padres. He'll deal to Weatherholt to start and a strike.
One thing he does is pitch to the edge of the zones and uses that changeup. You saw the splits on his pitches. He really doesn't give you much. You don't know what you're going to get at any pitch.
Weatherholt flips it into right field. That'll drop in front of Abreu. J.J. Weatherholt continues to get on base. He's gotten aboard in all 13 starts this year.
Well, this one was inside, jams him, but he gets over the top of the ball to just hook it down the line. You got to get the barrel out when a ball is beating you inside. If you're late, that's going to be a jam shot.
Weatherholt has already stolen 3 bags. Narvaez outstanding behind the plate, though. First pitch swinging. Ivan Herrera launches it foul down the line and left.
That's the other thing when there's trends on a pitcher. A lot of the hitters are swinging early against Suarez. So Suarez, when he makes good pitches on the corners, he gets a lot of quick outs. He gets ground balls and he gets that rhythm and that command that's just lacking right now due to some lack of innings.
This is with a curveball, and you know it, John, that Suarez gets such weak contact when he's at his best because of how effective he is around the edges of the plate and around the edges of the zone. Weatherholt at first, and a 1-1-2 Herrera. In there.
Oh, he's going to challenge that early.
Yep.
Those are risky challenges. That's the emotion.
Batter's challenging the strike ball.
That's an emotional challenge in the first inning. Even if he's right, which he's going to be right, you've got to be right.
Return pitches the ball. St. Louis retains their challenge.
So an ABS challenge powered by T-Mobile in the very early going, Johnny.
And it does change the at-bat.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. 2-1 is different than 1-2, but you have to be right in the first inning.
And Herrera sends that one down the right field line out of play, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. We've been talking to managers these first few weeks, different philosophies, different approaches, and depending on the experience perhaps of some of the guys on their rosters.
Well, Marmol basically said we want to use them late. You're going to have to be right if it's in the first inning, because it's not a game changer call there. You know, it's not like second and third 2 strikes. So luckily for him. But you'll see that reaction out of players and forget time and space. And what I mean by that is like, oh, that's a ball. Boom, go to the helmet. Well, okay, if that was with 2 strikes, I kind of get it. But you need those challenges later.
Foul at the plate, still 2-2. I made this comparison having covered the NBA and the NFL. Coaches obviously challenge in those sports rather than the players, but the players certainly lobby at times for challenges. You have to be very judicious with this, especially the emotional factor is something that's been fascinating to watch the first couple of weeks of the season with this system implemented. A great look from that dirt cam with a 2-2 pitch, and it runs the count full on a cutter.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched an emotional basketball player saying it's out of bounds on them, challenge, 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 and he ends up being wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, you see that. You'll see players as we get ready for the playoffs just twirling their fingers to indicate a challenge, and well, you got to be careful with them, especially early in games. Payoff pitch, jam shot to short, grab by Story, Myers relay, double play. That's something that Ranger Suarez loves, some weak contact to induce the double play ball, and the bases are wiped.
Well, when he pitched in his former team, a smaller ballpark, he did a great job with Philadelphia, and he's a cool customer. This guy doesn't get bothered by much, even though his start to his season hasn't been great. He's not going to waver in how he pitches. He's just going to get better on the edges of the zone.
Well, he wants to face Walker with the bases empty because nobody's been better in this St. Louis lineup. Now on a 6-game hit streak where he has hit 4 of those 5 home runs in that stretch. Out in front of that changeup, though, that evens the count at a ball and a strike.
Hitting the ball hard's not been a problem for him in the past. It's been the ball on the ground hit hard. And look, today in day and age, they want the ball in the air hit hard for homers. And what he's done is lifted these balls, of course, to get those home runs. But look where they're at. They're in the middle of the zone. And when they're in the middle of the zone and they're fat, the mechanical changes that he's made has paid off early for the confidence factor. I don't care how much confidence you have to have results to match up.
Out of the count 2-1, and now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Did a lot of work in the offseason, dropped some weight. That certainly helped his bat speed and better bat control as well. He's got that very quick bat, and that's helped him get off to this hot start. Those are the guys in Major League Baseball so far with 5 home runs. Walker part of that group. Georgia native will take a breaking ball low to run the count full.
Well, what happens in any sport, I don't care what it is, the mechanical changes you make, you have to trust. And you have to trust that the work you're going to put in is going to parlay it into the game. But you can't be thinking about the mechanical changes when you're in the game. That's where the trust comes in.
A good eye by Walker, and he is able to induce the walk after being behind in the count.
And I've gone through my changes, and everybody does in baseball. You have to adapt, and then it has to become innate. It has to be muscle memory, and it takes a long time to change muscle memory so that it's commonplace.
We heard the word free a lot with talking with Ollie Marmol, and that's describing how Jordan Walker is playing. He's hitting much freer. Here is Gorman, and the lefty facing the left-hander in Suarez tonight after getting his first night off yesterday. He's getting an opportunity over there at third base. That position vacated by Nolan Arenado now with the Diamondbacks.
So for Suarez, facing already 2 lefties here in the first inning, you just stay away from the inside mistake. Lefty on lefty crushes that pitch. Their swing plane and what they do to try to stay in on that ball.
Out in front of another changeup. That's been a good pitch in the early going so far.
See, he gets his hands back, and just the timing of that changeup messed with the timing of his swing.
They have confidence in Gorman to go up against the left-handers. Guys had a solid start to the season. Good early season contact for Nolan Gorman. 1-2 pitch. He's typically had a good eye. A good walk rate last year. League average right around between 7% and 8%. His was closer to 12%. Best on the Cardinals last year. Walker at first, 2 down, and a 2-2 pitch is outside, and that runs the count full yet again. Another full count in this first inning.
When you're a pitcher like Suarez, and he'll get it, I'm telling you, he's a field pitcher around the edges, and it becomes second nature to where he puts so much pressure on the umpire and the hitters. But when he misses, and he's missed early, not close enough to entice the swing, and that's the difference in the timing of a sinker ball, changeup, cutter / pitcher. He has to have the timing so well ingrained when he leaves spring training, and that's the difference of a 2-inch location miss.
Feel develops over time and reps, and Suarez is still trying to get those reps. Walker goes, and that feel for the fastball not there. Back-to-back walks for Suarez, and look at what has taken place with that cutter. Both home runs he allowed to the Astros in that first start on that pitch.
Yeah, location, location, location. And of course, you just can't get away with a pitch that spins like this. It is a recipe for disaster, especially for right-handed hitters, because the elevation and the spin of that ball, it's like a hanging slider. For any pitcher, is going to go as far as any pitch that they throw when it's hit out of the ballpark.
So Andrew Bailey out to talk to Suarez, who's been using that cutter a ton. And again, you talked about it, John. Ranger is a typically stoic guy, very cool and calm. You can sense a little bit of frustration. Half his pitches have been out of the zone so far.
Yeah, he's having to work through some of those issues that have carried over from spring training in each game. It's not a fun place to be. And as a big leaguer, that's what you have to learn how to do. You have to navigate and kind of limit the damage. He hasn't been able to limit that damage in those 2 games so far.
So here's Ramon Urias with 2 aboard and 2 out. First pitch he swings at is a fastball, and he fouls it. A single by Weatherholt. Herrera hit into the double play. Walker and Gorman with back-to-back 2-out walks. Setting it up for Urias. The last several seasons with the Baltimore Orioles. A split with Houston last year. They'll take a strike. Former St. Louis minor leaguer. Signed a minor league deal many years ago before he had joined the Baltimore Orioles. Spent a couple of seasons in the minors with St. Louis. Now playing the corner infield spots this year. Leans back. It's 1-2.
When he gets ahead, which he normally does, then that's where he can expand the zone. So he threw a kind of a cutter in to get a changeup away. I would think here after going 0-2, he's thinking in, see if he goes away. No, he's going right back in.
And he gets the called strike, although Urias wants another first inning challenge.
Batter is challenging a strike ball.
Herrera won one earlier.
This one's worth the challenge mainly because it ends the inning versus it keeps the inning alive, which is going to do.
Pitches the ball. St. Louis retains the challenge.
You come in with 2 challenges. You get to retain the challenge if it is correct. We only get 2 opportunities to get it wrong in a game, and so far 2 for 2 are the Cardinals.
This one would be considered a high leverage situation. 2 strikes, and now he's kept the inning going with a chance to still drive in a run.
ABS challenge brought to you by T-Mobile. Although he goes down swinging on the cutter, Suarez almost some anger behind that last pitch in a laborious first inning, but it ends up scoreless. The former Cardinals coming up. Fairly warm ovation, just as it was last night. Ooh, not a nice welcoming from Leahy, who looks frustrated after hitting Contreras in the back to start his night.
Man, I'll tell you what.
Wow.
He's been through it, hasn't he?
I mean, with what happened in Milwaukee this week, where frustrations and tempers may have flared a bit after Contreras was hit a couple more times this past week, he has kept count. He's been hit 24 times in his career by the Milwaukee Brewers, who saw plenty of Contreras in his time with St. Louis and Chicago.
I mean, this guy threw 9 straight strikes to start the game. And this poor guy gets up and he gets it right in the jersey.
Now 132 times he's been hit. You see the Milwaukee note. Quickly 2-0 on Wheeler Abreu.
Abreu's been their hot hitter, been carrying the team.
Best average in the American League to start in the first couple of weeks, almost 400 so far for Abreu. Had a couple more hits last night. Pulled them both. He pulls this one to second. Weatherholt to Sajaci to first in time. Both defenses have turned a double play behind their starters. The base is wiped clean after the leadoff hit by pitch.
Well, for the Red Sox, they have found ways to not put some runs on the board, and they're going to put some runs on the board. It's just been a rough start to a season of, I still believe they are going to have a really good year based on their personnel.
Here's Trevor Story, who had a bounce back 2025 after a few injury plagued seasons to start his Boston tenure. just hitting 140 so far. This after a 25 home run campaign last year. Reaches out and sends one out towards left center. The speedster Scott is over in a 6-pitch inning, including a hit by pitch and a double play. Plenty of action in those 6 tosses. Season, you can stream MLB Network 24/7 in the U.S. and select out-of-market games every week. Live radio broadcasts of every game. Game Day 3D beginning. Minor league action. It's all available at MLB.com/MLB Plus to subscribe. Jose Fermin, first pitch swinging against Suarez, and he pops it up on the infield for Contreras. That was helpful for Suarez after the 27-pitch first. 1 pitch to get Fermin.
Again, the team's going to stay, I guess, against Suarez aggressive, but that's the byproduct of making a good pitch if you're aggressive. Nothing better than a first pitch out.
So 1 away for Thomas Saggese, who celebrated his 24th birthday last night with a key RBI, which tied the game in the 5th.
Hi.
Eventually, Fermin drove in the go-ahead RBI in that 5th inning, part of a 3-2 victory. He pulls one into left field, a base hit for Saggese. Back-to-back nights with a knock, as he's in there for Mason Wynn, getting another night off. 103-mile-an-hour rocket from the now 24-year-old. So Pedro Pages will stand in. Had a double last night, hitting under 200 to start the season. We'll take a strike. 7 of the first 8 Cardinals have seen a first pitch strike so far. Foul down the line, 0-2. Pages and Ivan Herrera hoping to eventually split the catching duties, but Herrera had that elbow injury last year that he's still recovering from, so he continues to DH, and Pages has done a nice job behind the plate. He sends one out towards center field, and the excellent Gold Glove center fielder Cedar Rafaela is able to move back for the second out. So after the tough first inning, 6 pitches, 6 strikes in this frame for Suarez. And now he'll face the 9-hitter, the speedster Victor Scott. On an RBI sacrifice fly. A hit and a walk in the opener of this series. He's had 3 RBIs this season. 2 have come on squeeze bunts. He can really handle the bat. You always have to watch for the bunt with Scott because of that great speed. Only Trey Turner had a better sprint speed in Major League Baseball last year.
He'll put pressure on the defense. That's why you see the third baseman, no matter what the situation is, going to play in.
Ball and a strike. 2-1. Suarez clips the corner and a strike to even the count. A chance to get out of this inning with no damage done. Scoreless in the second. Deuces wild. The pitch. Little bouncer past Suarez. Second baseman Myers there on the move, and he's able to control the throw with Scott speeding down the line. Man left on base as we go to the third. Just 19 pitches to get through 2 innings for Kyle Leahy, the former reliever turned starter. By way of Boulder, Colorado, he deals with the bottom of the Boston order. Meyer leads things up. 23-year-old off to a cold start. Does have a home run. Saw his season come to an end last year in July with a wrist injury. Pages takes the worst of that foul ball and is limping around behind home plate.
There's nothing fun about the position of being a catcher, especially with the style of catching. See what's exposed, and just because that's the new way, they can receive the ball better and certainly take pressure off their knee. But when you get a foul ball, that's what happens.
Yadier Molina, who is in the dugout again. He's in and out depending on the weekend. He's been here for this series so far. He looks on at Pages, who has taken over that position. They're checking on Pages. Kyle Leahy is moving around to stay loose. Ken Rosenthal has more on tonight's St. Louis starter.
Adam, Kyle Leahy is a genuine baseball success story. He was the Cardinals' 17th round pick out of Division II Colorado Mesa University in 2018. Yet he says, I don't do a very good job stepping back and realizing everything I've accomplished. John, you know this. When you're in the middle of trying to establish yourself in the big leagues, it's hard to see the big picture. Leahy sees all his teammates striving to improve. He simply wants to do the same.
Yeah, I think for Kyle, you know, this game's hard. It's staying in this game and progressing. You can't take time to think about the journey. You got to keep the journey going.
We'll get a few warm-up tosses after the delay, and Pages seems to be all right behind the plate.
Well, relatively all right.
Yeah, there's a good sign there with the thumbs up.
Let's see if he goes back into a traditional catching stance. Well, he's
right back down to the knee. The 2 balls and a strike on Marcelo Meyer. Base hit and part of a double steal last night that produced a run for Boston. It's that ball slicing towards the left center field gap, and it's going to drop down in front of the left fielder Fermin for a base hit. So hits on back-to-back nights for Meyer. Maybe a better sign of things to come, and the leadoff man aboard for Boston.
Well, for the Red Sox, they're no different than the copycat type league that Major League Baseball is. They've signed a lot of young players to big contracts before their success has really hit, and so some of them have been okay, some not so okay, and that's the difference right now. You need those players to progress at the rate you hope they would by signing them early.
Narvaez takes a strike.
We just saw a couple big, huge contracts. The Pirates and then some others have, again, locked up guys while in the minor leagues. Projecting is fun and not always accurate, though.
0-2 on Narvaez. And it's becoming more of a trend. We saw it, and obviously, John, you live in Atlanta, and you saw it with Alex Anthopoulos trying to do it with a lot of the young core of the Atlanta Braves. It is a risk. Connor Griffin obviously has a lot of weight on his shoulders as a middle infielder in Pittsburgh, and a couple of guys who haven't even seen the big league level in Pratt and Emerson from Milwaukee and Seattle.
Yeah, it's definitely a trend that they have convinced their organizations if they hit a certain percentage, they're way ahead of the game.
Just outside.
But the big but is you're now kind of locked in. And what if those guys, like we've already seen in Boston, a couple of them don't get out of the gates? What is their mindset like? They're secure financially, but it doesn't help the current ball club.
Whew, another one off Pages. And again, you're trying to hit, right? You're hoping to hit on multiple guys when you're going to invest that much money, and that's what the Red Sox are hoping for as well, with Anthony and Meyer and these younger players. And St. Louis is going to find itself in a similar circumstance with some of their younger players, you might imagine. Of course, Chaim Bloom is now the president of baseball operations full-time for St. Louis, taking over for John Mozeliak, formerly of the Red Sox. And Craig Breslow in charge of Boston for the last few years.
You know, it's a little different if a guy's been in the big leagues, has 2-3 years track record of success, then you do an 8 or 9 year contract. You got something to go on.
There's a look at Chaim. Here's a 2-2. That's popped up foul.
I'd even go as much as say we're going to look back and see a lot of contracts and go, okay, Ronald Acuna, everybody would have agreed, 100% stud, 100% superstar. But I don't think they could have predicted 2 ACLs.
Sure.
Right now, is he the same player? Is he not? You know, he's still a great player, but that's part of the deal too. You don't know about the health factor.
On the ground, sharply hit, sucked up by Gorman. Throw to second. Weatherholt had to recover to get on the bag, and he's able to hit it and twist a throw for the double play. Second one turned by the Cardinal defense.
You got a catcher running, so really the distance that the second baseman has to get to is part of the problem. And then he knew he had nothing but time. Is that 3 already?
3 in this game between the two defenses. Back-to-back innings that the Red Sox have hit into a double play, and now the base is empty for the 9-hitter Ceddanne Rafaela. Off to a solid start offensively. We know what he does on defense. One of the elite center fielders in the game. Kind of, I don't even want to call it a misplay last night in center field. It was such a difficult catch to try to make on what ended up being an extra base hit. He nearly flagged it down. 2 balls and a strike on Rafaela, who's played in every game so far. He had a double in the late innings last night to add to his good start offensively. 2-1 pitch. A little tapper foul.
Yeah. Anytime your back is to the catcher when you're trying to catch a ball and going towards the fence, it's not an easy catch. That would have been a spectacular catch. He's frustrated because he believes he should make all those catches. But that one right there, the degree of difficulty was pretty high.
Ended up being an Urias double. Takes low to run the count full. And I laugh because, again, had he made that catch, it kind of almost would have looked a little like, oh, yeah, Rafaela made the play in center. But that is an incredibly difficult play. I think the catch probability was something like 15%. He strokes one in that direction, and Scott, the speedster, another good center fielder, one of the best in baseball last year, makes that play. And off. Great eulogy he gave for Stan Musial. How many dates and family gatherings started with those 6 words: meet you at the Musial statue right over at Gate 3 here at Busch Stadium on a beautiful Saturday night. Back to the top of the Cardinal order in the home half of the 3rd for J.J. Weatherholt. There's Stan the man. Weatherholt a single pull to right his first time up, playing in just his 14th major league game, and by the parameters we showed you in the last inning, he's probably up for an extension already. Hit a home run in his major league debut in his 2nd at bat against Tampa Bay. Was hitting leadoff right out of the gate. One-two pitch is inside. Ken Rosenthal, you can add on young J.J. Weatherholt.
Well, he's one of those candidates for an extension, as you mentioned, Adam, and clubs do these deals for a very simple reason. They believe the players will outperform the contracts, and agents and player representatives from the union will tell you that the hit rate is a lot higher than the miss rate, that these contracts generally do prove favorable for the clubs. But John, Alex Cora was talking to us about this today, and he said the dynamic changes, though. It changes when you have a number of players under those kinds of deals, and that is what the concern can be for some of these teams.
Grounds out to first here. Nice play by Contreras, and there's one down.
Yeah, again, if I'm giving out those deals, I'm going to show whatever I need to show to say that they're successful. So, I mean, I can make the numbers look the way they want to look. So the reality is, when you're putting together a team on the field, it comes down to executing. And no matter what that carrot that's no longer there for a lot of guys, you got to know the personality, the work ethic, the structure. You're giving a lot of these guys generational money, and they've not stepped into the big leagues. So you better do your homework. You better know, and you got to hope too that it works out.
Here's Ivan Herrera. First pitch swinging, laces it to right. Abreu, the 2-time Gold Glover, though, read it perfectly, and quickly 2 down here in the 3rd. And between Weatherholt and Mason Witt, I mean, you got your middle infield potentially of the future, and a lot of weight and a lot of young players. We've talked about the youth, the youngest roster right now in Major League Baseball. There's Mason Witt, the excellent shortstop, and suddenly that pressure. How do these guys deal with that part of it too? The mental aspect of suddenly being a face of a franchise, especially one with the history of the Cardinals. Here's Walker.
Well, that's the trick too, that now they're trying to convince their fan base what kind of ball club and what direction are they going. the attendance has never been like this. It's usually packed, but they understand what they've heard has not matched on what they're seeing. So can this ball club and these young and new generation of players bring them back to that history that they had for the longest time?
Forever, St. Louis was top 5 in attendance, 39, 40,000 per game. It's closer to middle of the pack. It was 20th in attendance last year, about 27,000 average. We're not used to seeing that around here in St. Louis, with the fan base that appreciates and loves their baseball when it's played well. A 1-2-3 third on 10 pitches. Walker left frozen, and Suarez has locked it in after the tough start.
So we're here with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Ollie, Kyle Leahy, 3 scoreless innings, just 1 base runner. What is it you like about him?
He just has the right demeanor as a starter, man. This is a guy that prepares extremely well. And like we've seen, even when he gets a runner on, he's got a lot of pitches to go to. He gets the ground ball to play a couple times there. But his demeanor, overall arsenal, it's built to be a starter. So we're excited about what's ahead.
The Cardinals obviously are in a building situation this season. Ollie, what do you want to see from this team as the year progresses?
Just progress, and we're already seeing it, man. There's a certain way we have to play the game in a way that this city respects, and that's playing the game hard and playing the game the right way. But we have to be better in May than we were in April, and better in June than May, and just continue to make progress. These guys are hungry for information. Well, this is what makes it fun. Our staff is passionate about teaching. These players are hungry for what's next. So the combination of those two things has been a ton of fun.
Ollie, thanks a lot. Adam, back to you.
Ken, thanks so much. Roman Anthony looks at a ball, and it's 3-1. Cardinals already with series wins over the Rays and the Mets, and the Nationals suffered a series loss against Detroit. Well, they have a chance for their 4th series win already in the first few weeks of the season. Although Roman Anthony in the leadoff spot for the Red Sox, a leadoff walk. That is 3 straight innings that the Red Sox have had the leadoff man aboard. Can they generate some offense here with the top of their order? Meanwhile, the Red Sox just 4-9 to start their campaign. They won the opening game of the season on the road in Cincinnati, but have lost 6 straight on the road since. Did get that series win against Milwaukee earlier this week. There's Caleb Durbin. Gorman playing even with the bag at third, and Durbin will take one just low. Durbin, the former Brewer, fouls it back. This was a big addition, obviously, for this group to fill in that third base spot. Of course, Rafi Devers traded last summer. Alex Bregman was manning that position all of last season. Obviously went to the Chicago Cubs in free agency. A lot of weight on Durbin's shoulders. Flips that down the right field line. Walker, a long run. That's going to drop foul.
This is the 3rd straight inning the Red Sox have gotten a leadoff hitter on, and each time they were gobbled up by a double play. So when you're struggling to score runs and you're not getting a lot of hits, you got to take advantage of the leadoff hitter getting on. That's when your percentage goes way up.
Durbin's got Anthony at first. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the former Washington University star, and I'm talking about here in St. Louis. Durbin knows this area very well. He sends one out towards left center field. Fermin with a nice beat on it. He's over to make the catch, and back to first base goes Anthony. So 1 away for Jarren Duran. Grounded out to Weatherhold his first time up on an absolute rocket. 108 miles an hour off the bat to finish off that first inning. Weatherhold has made some nice plays in his first few weeks in Major League Baseball over at second. This is a guy that has such a great toolkit, John Duran. He's got everything that you would want in a baseball player in terms of what he can do defensively, the speed. He's got power. Can he put it all together, and can he stay consistent? Can he win the mental battle as well, as we know that's something that Duran has battled with in his time in Major League Baseball.
Well, the other thing that I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have, all things considered. 4 players for 3 positions. I mean, they have a lot of talent in the outfield, and they're going to have their chances to give certain guys a rest against certain players, but you see the numbers, and the speed is what pops out. His ability to get multiple ways to get on base.
Waits for a 1-2 and hits it hard into right center field. There's a base hit. Anthony was thinking about it. He took a big turn, but he'll stay at second base. And 2 aboard with only 1 out here in the 4th. Wilson Contreras is coming to the plate, the former St. Louis Cardinal. Subject of dual action sponsored by Roundup. One of the subjects is these 2 teams have made a few trades. Of course, Sonny Gray is now a member of this Boston Red Sox rotation. He's off to a nice start. And of course, Wilson Contreras adds a veteran presence at age 33. After 344 games and 55 home runs hit with the St. Louis Cardinals the last few years. Take a ball with 2 aboard and 1 out.
You know he wants to do something here for his new team against his former team.
Made the transition last year with St. Louis to first base after catching to begin his career. Ropes that one down the left field line. That's a fair ball, and it's going to give the Red Sox the lead. Anthony's going to score, and there's the speed of Duran as it kicks off the sidewall. 2-run score, and Contreras indeed delivers. It's 2-0 Boston.
Well, I told you he can absolutely fly, and this ball was smoked. 113 miles per hour off the bat, and that's usually the case on a breaking ball that is in the middle of the plate. That's where your higher velocities are going to be. And then here you're going to see Duran. Once he sees it in the corner, he doesn't have to see anything else right there. He knows he's going to score. It feels a lot better than getting hit.
Took a first pitch between the 4 and 0 on the backside of his jersey from Leahy in the 2nd inning. This time he cracks a 2-run double, and Boston strikes first. Now Leahy trying to settle it down as he's got a man in scoring position in Contreras. Still only 1 out for Wheeler Abreu, who hit into a double play back in the 2nd. Abreu, what a fabulous WBC he had. The eventual champion Venezuelans. The bat flip of all bat flips. As our colleague AJ Pierzynski called it, a bat throw when he hit that big home run in the quarters against Japan. He'll take one inside. It's quickly 3-0. It's a guy with a lot of pull power, has been trying to use all fields, but he can crush a ball to right field, as he has proven in his first few years at the big league level. Obviously has a great glove in right field as well. He'll take all the way to strike. Great look at Contreras at second, and Abreu waiting for a high leverage pitch at 3-1. Outside, and there are 2 aboard with 1 out. John, you talked about it. Leahy the 2nd time around, and again, part of the development and evolution from going from the bullpen, where you typically are not going to go more than maybe 3, maybe 6 batters, maybe 7 or 8 really when you're stretched out.
Yeah, 200 the first time around, 389 the second time around. But this is about getting reps to learn how to deal with that.
Yep.
Look, if you don't give guys chances, and you just, like anything else in the game, the left-handed hitter can't hit left-handed pitching, so he's just going to face right-handed pitching, so on and so forth. And they label pitchers in the same way because they're coming out of the gate hot and throwing everything they have to every hitter. There's not any more. There's no guesswork. So guesswork. if you want to face a hitter 3 times and you're asking a guy to go full tilt and he in the first inning shows every pitch he has, you're not getting a hitter out 3 times, period. So you've condensed his growth and production, and you basically said, I'm only going to allow him to face hitters twice. You can't throw every single pitch, but what in the first inning against especially the first hitter, you got it. If you do that, there's no other guesswork. There's no other where to go. And the elite pitchers in the game who know how to pitch and go 3 and are given the opportunity to go 3 times through the lineup, they're bringing and holding something back for when they need to get you out in a crucial situation.
And this is one of those right now. 2 across, 2 on, 1 out, and here's Trevor Story. There's a strike after the meeting on the mound. And he's got that 6-pitch mix, does Leahy. He's got a lot of tools in that toolbox. He's got that great sweeper with all that break, the horizontal break on it. Learning how to sequence it, not just for one batter, but over the course of a game. It's an art. That is science and art combined into one occupation. And Leahy is learning that in a trial by fire, joining this St. Louis rotation full-time to start 2026. A ball and a strike to Story, who takes that sweeper and fouls it up the line at third. Trevor Story, the former Colorado Rocky, while Kyle Leahy started his days in the state of Colorado, in Boulder, where he went to high school.
Now we're early in the year, but Story has really struggled at the bottom of the zone. So anything down in the strike zone and below, probably going to be a swing and a miss or a ground ball. So that's where you got to go.
Story has struck out 20 times already this year in a 58 plate appearance sample size. So over 1/3 of the at bats so far for Story have ended in a strikeout. Two on, 1 out. 2-2 pitch. Fouls it back. There's that sweeper. Cut off some of that big break with the earlier swing. Leahy played the high school futures game at Trevor Story's old stomping grounds at Coors Field. Gets the foul tip into the glove, held onto by Pages, and it is another strikeout for Story. And there are 2 away.
Well, that's when you know you're not seeing the ball mechanically. You're not sound, because this ball's middle, and when you're going good as a hitter, you're crushing that pitch, and you can see his head comes off the ball just a little bit, and of course he misses it because of that timing aspect. But when you're going good as a hitter, you don't miss that.
Just inside to Meyer. Pages wants a challenge.
Catcher's challenging the ball call.
So we get another ABS challenge brought to you by T-Mobile. And a
Ball's overturned. Pitcher's a strike. St. Louis retains the challenge.
A good one there from the catcher Pages, who has a very good reputation in the early part of this system. He was very sharp in spring training on those challenges, and he gets a key one at the bottom of the zone there.
Well, that's a perfect example of why not only is it tough to call balls and strikes in the league, but you could see that was a full ball off the strike zone, but all it has to do is touch part of the ball. And so, yeah, it looks like a great challenge, and it probably will end up that way if he gets an out. But that's still kind of guessing.
Sure.
Right? That's not 100% sure, because if you think you're 100% sure, that ball barely touched the strike zone. That's why pitching and hitting, if we went to a full-time ABS system, hitting would be at an all-time even worse low than what we're seeing in the game today because of the usage of pitches and pitchers.
The ball skips away, taking off from second. Contreras, thrown down by Pages, is a little late. Contreras went barreling into third base under the tag of Gorman. Staying at first base, Abreu. Now it's runners at the corners with 2 out.
Change up in the dirt, spikes on the plate. And a kind of a risky move, but it worked out. You don't want to make that 3rd out at second base, or third base, sorry.
Now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Meyer. Went the opposite field for a single back in the 3rd. Contreras at 3rd. Abreu at 1st, and a close pitch. On the count full. Good eye by Meyer there. You're essentially saying that with this new system, you almost get a full ball to the edges of the strike zone, because now you just have to clip it if you challenge. Now again, you're not going to challenge every single pitch, but in those challenge situations, it's almost an expanded zone.
Yeah, and they lowered the strike zone, thankfully.
Payoff pitch, another close one, and that is a walk drawn. 3 walks in this inning issued by Leahy. A couple of close ones taken by Meyer in this PA.
Okay, the difference is maybe in the 7th inning you would challenge that pitch on a 2-strike end the inning call, but it's very difficult if you're not 100% sure early in the game to lose a challenge.
33rd pitch of this inning. Narvaez will take a strike. It has been a tough go for Leahy. Went through the Red Sox order the first time through on just 36 tosses. Now the bases are loaded for Carlos Narvaez. Looking for his first RBI of the season. A base hit would give it to him.
The crazy thing is he's made a lot of really good pitches that haven't been swung at or grounded out, and then the one bad pitch he made cost him a couple runs on the double down the line.
Now Graceffo loosening. Narvaez cracks it to center field. Well struck. Scott back though. He's got room. And Leahy makes the big pitch when he needs to leave him loaded in a laborious 5-pitch 4th inning. He drives in 2 on that double. And Boston out in front. Ranger Suarez works with a lead, and he has retired 7 of the last 8 Cardinals he has faced after that tough first inning. And he gets in front of Nolan Gorman to start this at bat. Big swing and a miss. There's that sinker that seems to be the basis for a lot of what Suarez does, Johnny.
Yeah, it's look, when you're I'm going to say finesse pitcher, because in today it would absolutely be considered a finesse pitcher. When you have the connectivity, I call it, when the ball's coming out of your fingers and you have that fluid motion and you're on time.
As Gorman strokes it to right for Abreu. 1 down.
You can spot your sinker on the edges of the strike zone. When you're not on time and you're not comfortable, you're missing in the middle of the strike zone. He cannot afford to be fat in the strike zone, which is the evidence of the first 2 starts. When he gets rolling, you're going to see that spread, that influence of the pitch on the corners being better and better. And now he can utilize his secondary stuff and frustrate hitters with the change of speed on the breaking ball and the changeup.
Urias fouls it away.
The one thing, this might be analytically driven when he got over here, the influence of throwing that cutter more. Maybe that's part of the Red Sox. I don't know. Maybe it's part that he didn't have his sinker and he's trying to get guys off of his sinker. But the cutter usage is down tonight, and we'll see if that continues, and his command is improving.
Hard hit ball by Urias through the left side, and a base hit for the St. Louis first baseman. He is aboard with a 1-out single here in the 4th. We talked about it. The cutter has been heavily used in the early part of the year through 3+ innings, just 5 thrown so far.
And I would say when he's going to go great, the cutter usage is going to go down. The reason you throw a cutter for a sinker ball pitcher is you want to keep the hitters from diving out over the plate. Greg Maddux had one of the great 2-seam fastballs of all time. His cutter was not a great analytical pitch. Like, it wouldn't have data written over like, you got to throw that. It stayed straight, and the reason it stayed straight is to get in on the left-handed hitter when they would dive over the plate. That's how he broke bats and got soft contact. So now the hitter has to say, oh shoot, you're willing to come in there with a pitch that's chasing me. I have to stay in my lane and not reach out over the plate for fear of getting beat with that cutter.
Ball and a strike on for Mean, fouled back. Again, Suarez, to your point, like, you wouldn't, you would call him a finesse pitcher because modern day fastballs are like 94, 95 miles an hour. He has, amongst starters now with Kyle Hendricks retiring, Andrew Heaney retiring. He's got the lowest average fastball velocity for starters at like between 90 and 91 miles an hour. So it is more about using the corners. It is more about the pitch mix, and he's got 6 pitches that he can lean on. That sinker velocity has gone down the last couple of years, but he's still found success because of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's because he's so athletic and repeats his delivery and fields his position.
There's a well-placed sinker. Speaking of which, didn't need a whole lot past 90 miles an hour to freeze Fermin for the second out of the inning.
Well, there's a great example of why a hitter's looking out over the plate. He sees one in, he freezes, and he freezes in the wrong spot because that pitch stayed on the inner half of the plate.
So 2 outs. Urias is single sandwiched in between, and here is Sajaci.
There's a place on every staff, and I mean every staff, for a pitcher like this. They just don't look for him anymore. They're not promoting him. They're not teaching it. They want velocity. They want studs. They want guys that look like they can play football, and it's all well and fine until those guys break down, which they all do at about a 33% rate on every staff, are having almost Tommy John surgeries.
Sajaci to center. Rafaela to his right. He's got it. And a strong Suarez inning. A much stronger last 3 innings for Ranger. To the 5th we go. On MLB.com. Gordon Graceffo out of Villanova is into the game. 5th time this season. Last pitched on Tuesday against Washington at a 35-pitch outing. The 9-hitter is Ceddanne Rafaela leading things off for Boston here in the top of the 5th inning. So Leahy will not get a chance to face the order a 3rd time through, and they wanted to start with a clean inning. So Graceffo is in for Leahy after his 4-inning outing, his shortest among the 3 he's made so far to start this season, as he talks with his manager in the Cardinal dugout. Just outside to even the count. It was a long 4th inning for Leahy. 35 pitches after 36 in the first 3 frames. One pitch, and Rafaela a little tapper foul. Waved on and missed. Tight slider chased by Rafaela. 1 away. Back to the top of the Boston order. And Ken Rosenthal, Roman Anthony, 21-year-old, back to the plate. A strikeout and a walk tonight.
Adam, being around the Red Sox the last couple of days, talking to veteran players, coaches, one thing they keep bringing up is how young this group of position players is. And no one is more the focus than this guy, Roman Anthony. Not yet 22. This is his 84th major league game, and yet, because of the way this team is constructed, they're asking him almost to be a David Ortiz type force, and that's a lot to ask.
That is a lot to ask. Tell you the one thing about this game, and you know, young players are more ready for the moment than ever before, but the big but is they've had to adjust and address things differently by the style of pitching and the arms that are coming out of the pen.
Skied out to left. Fermin is there, and quickly after getting down 2-0, Graceffo is able to get Roman Anthony out for the 2nd out of the inning, and this is the kind of story of the first dozen games for the Boston Red Sox, dozen-plus games so far.
Yeah, isn't the first 17 games of the season fun for the old bandwagon? Jump on, jump off. We're terrible. We're great.
Here's Durbin. It's not fun when the hope that sprung eternal suddenly gets shot down after 12 games, but certainly not enough to have a true sense of what's going on. And asked managers, and different managers might have different responses, but really it takes somewhere between like 40 and 50 games to really have an understanding of what a team might be. In at third was Gorman. He was ready for it. He'll throw out his counterpart. It's a 1-2-3-9 pitch Graceffo inning out of the St. Louis bullpen. We're halfway through at Busch Stadium tonight. 2-0 Boston. World Series in 2013 as well. Cardinals won in 1946 and 1967. That 1946 World Series was actually the last one that was not on television. Ranger Suarez back to work. Bottom of the fifth with a 2-0 lead. Pedro Pages first pitch swinging. Bouncer to second. Myers got it. And 1 pitch, 1 out. There's 2 storied franchises. 126th year of Boston Red Sox baseball. And for the St. Louis franchise, the 145th year. Going back to 1882. They began as the Brown Stockings. The Browns in 1883, phenomenal name, the Perfectos in 1899, as Scott shows, but they've been the Cardinals since 1900.
The problem for Scott, not only is third and first in, you got a pitcher who's outstanding at fielding his position. So typically when you square around thinking you're going to bunt on the first pitch, you want those guys to come in, and maybe it helps you either get a ball over his head. Now it's a moot point with 2 strikes, but that's the reason you do it.
Scott watches one at the bottom of the zone for called strike 3. 3 pitches to get the 9-hitter. Quickly 2 up and 2 down for Suarez in the inning as we look at some team leaders sponsored by Applebee's. This is just this century. Red Sox with 4 World Series championships, 2 for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's the group with multiple championships this century. Back to the top and Weatherholt. He went around according to Bill Miller. Boy, Ranger Suarez after that 27 pitch first inning has been locked in. What a recovery, and his best stretch so far in his first 3 starts of 2026. Breaking ball misses low. It's even at 1.
And again, you could tell when the ball comes out of his hand is a breaking ball popping out of his hand, which means he's not in that command of that pitch. Is the changeup missing wide? He's starting to get that command back and that freedom.
Hard hit ball to first, sucked up by Contreras, flipped to the covering Suarez. A 7-pitch inning after a 13-pitch fourth. Suarez dialed in. 2-0 Boston. Baseball season, it has turned into a picturesque evening in St. Louis where the Red Sox have a 2-0 lead. Gordon Graceffo into his second inning of relief, and it is the heart of the Boston order. Jarren Duran holds up to get ahead. Base hit and scored one of the 2 runs on the Contreras double in the 4th. Off to a slow start this year, but a solid single in that 4th frame. It's this one on the ground, a short force to JC. Duran retired to start the 6th inning.
Well, the young man on the mound does a nice job vertically. Fastball, curveball, slider. Everything is top to bottom. Curveball change of speed, breaks down, and then a firmer slider that breaks down that goes off that fastball.
This is his role to maybe potentially go up to 3 innings as a long relief man. Here's Contreras, who broke the scoring seal in the 4th.
I don't for the life of me with this style of pitching and what we're taking from. I don't understand why every club doesn't have a guy that throws 3 innings twice a week.
Sure.
I just don't. I think that development is missing. And because we are asking pitchers in Major League Baseball, let's face it, they're not ready. But they have to eat up innings because so many guys are getting hurt and so many guys don't go 5, 6, 7 innings. I don't understand why more clubs aren't having an innings eater, and that would only be a 2-3 inning guy.
Doesn't that feel like a natural transition from the minor leagues to the major leagues potentially, especially if you're a starter at the minor league level? Hey, let's be a 2-inning guy to eat up some innings, perhaps when your team is trailing. Contreras, did he go around? No. First base umpire tonight is Chad Fairchild.
Again, conventional wisdom would say yes, but when you don't develop and you don't allow this type pitcher to work on his breaking ball, his off speeds, he's then gets condensed into a 1-inning max effort guy, and it's just a missing component. When you can use all the pitchers throughout the minor leagues to get through a season, nothing's going to change. That's why I think a rule change is coming down in the pipe for pitchers to change the philosophy of the game. And if you want guys to stay healthier, you need, literally, the clubs need a rule so that they can change their philosophy and how they're asking guys to go about their business. And that rule could be limit how many pitchers are on a team. Now you don't have as many resources. Obviously, it takes about 32 to 38 pitchers per year per team to get through a season. So I just think we're getting closer to that happening here in the future.
Contreras waves and misses. There's a strikeout for Graceffo. 2 down. Wheeler Abreu will come to the plate. Player profile sponsored by Liberty Mutual. He has gotten off to a fantastic start this season. He has hit into a double play tonight and has walked. But the red hot start came into action tonight, leading the American League with an average near 400. Already 3 homers this year. Graceffo deals and Abreu takes low.
I can't tell you how many people have asked me, John, I watch baseball and I see the 8th inning guy go 1, 2, 3 and 10 pitches. Why can't he pitch in the 9th? Well, they just don't want him to. Or in the 7th. Why can't he go 7th to the 8th? You see this night after night after night. And the way that they're conditioned to use these kind of guys, it's in that role and that role only. They're not expanding it. They're not asking guys to go 3 times in a row. So when you think about all the things we're saying, that pitching staff and that bullpen every single night is averaging at least 3 to 4 relievers every game based on the amount of innings that the starter goes.
I mean, the top flight rotations are going close to 6 innings on average, right? The Mariners last year, like, they had a rotation where typically they would go 5 to 6 innings. That's gone lower and lower over the course of the last decade, closer to 5 innings per outing per start. Whereas, 15 years ago, you're probably looking at, well, it's closer to 6 innings per start. The Cardinals have been fairly lucky. They've had fairly healthy rotations the last couple of years, but it still takes so many guys through the bullpen, through injuries, whether it's arm injuries or bodily injuries that take place over the year that dip into your pitching staff into the minors.
And you know what the knock that people will say about the Cardinals rotation, even though they stayed healthier? They probably had less stuff, less eye-popping strikeouts.
Sure.
Right?
Sonny Gray had an outing last year where he had a complete game in less than, 95 pitches, right?
Yeah. And I think that the only way health becomes a competitive advantage in the future is with rule changes.
2-2 pitch from Graceffo to Abreu is lifted in the air to left. Fermin over. And Gordon Graceffo, excellent work out of the St. Louis pen. Making Ed Svita, the Villanova Wildcat, proud. Back-to-back 1-2-3 frames. Hot season. Michael Jordan very happy about that as the Cup Series hits the short track at Bristol tomorrow at 3 Eastern, starting at 2 on FS1.
I was there last year.
That's right.
For the baseball game. Reds and the Braves.
After a delay, after maybe a night.
Yeah.
Had to wait what, about 12 more hours?
That was so unfortunate. What an electric atmosphere. People were there all day. Place was packed. And Mother Nature said, not so fast.
They played college football there and now Major League Baseball as well. Ranger Suarez has retired 11 of the last 12 Cardinals he has faced. He's ahead of Herrera, 0-2. What a job by Suarez. Had a 27-pitch first inning, a couple of walks and a hit. Did have a double play in that first. Gave up a 1-out single in the second to Sajaci, and since then 11 of 12 retired. Only Urias has reached in that group. 2-2 on Herrera. Suarez with a big money deal. 5 years, $130 million with Boston for a kid who came from a farm in Venezuela and signed for $25,000 at age 16.
And that was a great pitch, but somehow Herrera stayed off of that changeup. Good arm action, came out like a sinker and just drops off the table.
Herrera bounces it to the left side for the third baseman Durbin. One away.
Well, he may not be a high strikeout pitcher per se, but he's been moving the ball around and keeping it off the plate and just freezing hitters when they think something else is coming. And because that sinker has the ability to dive out of the zone, it also holds the plane very well at the bottom, and that's why he'll get a lot of hitters looking.
Here's Walker. Came in red hot, 6-game hit streak after last night with a couple of base knocks. Going to challenge here.
Strike call.
See, again, this is one I don't understand. If you're a hitter,
Calls on the turn, pitch the ball. St. Louis retains their challenge.
even though you get it right, it's only strike one. Now you're risking that challenge in the 6th inning.
Especially now as we get towards the later innings. Ripped but foul.
My point being is if that was a 1-1 pitch that makes it 1-2, now you're 1 strike away from the first pitch. Shouldn't necessarily, if you're confident in what you're doing as a hitter, change the at bat that much, but he got it right.
Again, as we get further along into the season, there are going to be moments where teams will get burned because they used those challenges and lost them earlier in the game. We've already seen a game, a Baltimore Orioles game, decided at the end of it on an ABS challenge powered by T-Mobile. We'll see that often over the course of the year, but so far tonight, Cardinals are 4 for 4 on challenges. Both teams are perfect so far.
And what happens is if it gets later in the game and you have those challenges and it's a borderline call, you can take a chance, even if you know it's probably a 50-50 scenario.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Walker, and that is called strike 3. Ranger Suarez, his 5th of the night. He's retired 13 of the last 14 Cardinals. That's the 2nd time he has frozen Jordan Walker at the plate.
Same thing. He tries to go in and that sinker ends up right down the middle, but because it has that movement, the hitter's guessing for something else and it's too late.
Now here's the lefty Gorman taking strike 1. You can tell that Suarez is starting to get that feel back. The last 4 strikeouts he's had, of the 5 that he has delivered, have been looking. He has kept some of these Cardinals hitters off balance.
Yeah.
Gorman taps it foul, 0-2.
Yeah, almost half of his strikeouts this year are going to be looking so far in the season. And a lot of those strikeouts are going to come on the inside part of the plate. Because they're looking out over the plate, he can freeze them on the inside part of the plate.
Ooh, that time Narvaez thought it was going to be called strike 3. Will not challenge it. Probably the right call not to. On the ground foul. Now, again, back to your point, Johnny, because that was an 0-2 pitch. Opt against challenging it because you still have pitches with which to work in this particular at bat. Now, if that's a 2-2 pitch or a 3-2 pitch that leads to a walk, maybe you consider it even if it would be wrong. Yeah. Just the thinking process, the thought process behind it is all. Another 2-strike offering, and it doesn't matter. A moot point as Suarez has completely shut down the Cardinals after the laborious first. 6 shutout frames from Ranger. The former Philadelphia Philly, a big game pitcher in his career, Captain Cool, has calmed down and locked in. Ranger Suarez, rather than what the Red Sox had seen his first 2 outings. Trevor Story grounds one to start the late innings to Gorman. 1 pitch for Graceffo to get the first out of the 7th. Excellent work by Suarez, who ends up retiring 14 of the final 15 Cardinal hitters he faced.
Yeah, he sure did settle in, and other than those 2 walks, And the base hit in the first inning, relatively smooth sailing since.
Graceffo's done excellent work out of the St. Louis bullpen. Meyer will take a high strike.
I really like this young man, the way he throws. I mean, straight over the top, not relying on too much movement as far as laterally, just a heavy fastball and north-south breaking balls.
He's dealt with a shoulder injury in his career. It's a guy who had a 100-mile-an-hour fastball a few years ago and has had to deal with some of these inflammation issues and has had to relearn some mechanics. One pitch. Meyer will take high. I'm with you, John. We were talking about it in the last inning where Graceffo was out there. That multi-inning bridge guy just really seems like it's more and more important as now you got the left-hander Justin Brule loosening behind him. Meyer's been aboard twice in 2 trips to the plate. Here's the 2-1. 3-1. Narvaez waits on deck. Graceffo knows it. He was quoted as saying the #1 ability is availability. It's a cliche, but it's a fair one. 3-2 on Meyer. Marmol looks on. Another young guy coming up in his mid-20s. Facing another youngster in Meyer. Just, they're like babies out there right now. Payoff pitch. Meyer will work back for a walk and a 1-out base runner for Boston as they try to tack on some more here in the late innings. Narvaez to the plate. Cardinals came into action today in a first-place tie with Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. Milwaukee trailing the Nationals right now. Pittsburgh got a victory over the Cubs in 11 by a run, so they take over first place. There goes Meyer. Hit and run action. Left center field. Long run for Mean. Won't get there. He'll cut it off. But Meyer is going to end up at third base on a well-struck single by Narvaez. The ball gets away momentarily, but not far enough for any advancement. And the Red Sox have something brewing against Graceffo. First and third, 1 out in the 7th.
Runner going, the hitter puts a line drive, but the runner has to make sure that this ball doesn't get caught. He knows he can get to third base when he gets to that position. That's not the issue. He just doesn't want to get doubled off.
So now it'll be the 9-hitter Rafaelo, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Second time facing Graceffo, who struck him out in the 5th. Big hole on the right side, and a breaking ball drops low. Ooh, came inside on Rafaela and frustratedly flings the bat down. That's got a sting. Immediately, trainers coming out to check on the Red Sox center fielder.
Yeah, the first move gets you rarely see it, like almost the bottom of his palm. The one thing you worry about is that wrist area. I think it goes palm to chest, right? Just first move for every hitter is trying to get on top and ready to hit a fastball, and guys in their style of hitting just they don't get out of the way because they really don't have that ability to get out of the way when they're trying to hit 96, 97.
I mean, I saw Andrew Benintendi of the White Sox strike out on a pitch that hit him, that was coming inside on him. You're just kind of keyed in, and you're so devoted to that swing coming in because you have to cheat on all these fastballs, it feels like, more often than not. Now the concern is with the Excellent young center fielder Rafaela. Bases will be loaded with 1 out in the 7th, and back to the top of the order for Anthony. Rafaela, as of now, is going to stay in this game.
I would think they're going to make a pitching change here with Anthony coming up. Go to the left-hander.
And Bruihl is ready to go, and that'll indeed be the case as Ali Marmol comes out, hoping that this game stays where it's at. Tough spot for the Cardinal bullpen. Red Sox try to tack on some more here in the 7th. Bags are loaded when you come back. Pitching performance from Ranger Suarez. They put pressure on the Cardinals. Wilson Contreras has a 2-run double. And now it's Justin Bruihl facing Roman Anthony with the bases loaded in the 7th and a chance to bust this game open. Already the 8th appearance of the year for Bruihl, who needed just 2 pitches to get out of the 8th inning in what was a 6-1 victory over Washington earlier this week. Anthony takes inside. It's 2-0.
He's going to throw his sinker a lot and use that breaking ball. Breaking ball is going to be his highest percentage.
The 2-0. This is again with the fastball. It's 3-0 on Anthony. Could be an interesting spot here. Rafaela, by the way, still at first base after being hit by that pitch. Taken all the way a strike.
That's the maturity of a young player. Again, going up there wanting to make something happen against left here, left on left. He did not expand the zone in any of the first 3 pitches and can sit on one here on a 3-1 pitch.
Flipped it foul. Now Bruihl's worked back to 3-2, hoping to find a ground ball to end this inning.
He's throwing all sinkers. He hasn't broke out the breaking ball yet. Will he have the guts to do it on a 3-2 pitch? After being down 3-0, worked his way back into a manageable count here.
Last year with the Blue Jays. Now with the Cardinals. His 3-2 pitch is on the outside corner for called strike 3. A huge pitch from the lefty to freeze Anthony for the 2nd out.
Wow, that's incredible. This is the last 3 pitches. The second one was fouled off, and then this 3rd pitch, that would have been the one to challenge if you want to take a chance. Now looks like he would have lost.
Now Durbin outside for ball 1. He worked back from down 3-0 in that count to strike out Anthony, and now a chance to get out unscathed here in the 7th. Popped up. Coming in from right is Walker, and Bruihl wiggles off the hook with a huge couple of outs. Gets Graceffo out of that jam, and it's still 2-0 as we hit the stretch in St. Louis. The official source for your favorite team gear. Cardinals trying to get it going. Ramon Urias has one of 3 hits for the Cardinals. He'll face Greg Weissert here in the 7th. First pitch swinging, bouncer to 3rd. Long throw from Durbin to get Urias. And this pitching staff for the Red Sox has dialed it in between Suarez and Weissert, starting his outing out with a 1-pitch out. Back-to-back nights Weissert is pitching. He got 4 outs last night on 18 pitches. He's got the first out here tonight in the 7th. Had a great outing with Italy in the WBC. That big strikeout of Aaron Judge when Italy got the key victory. Eventually fell to Venezuela. Team the Ranger Suarez represents, now backing up Suarez out of the pen. There's a bunt shown by Fermin foul.
Well, overall, other than the Dodgers, everything is bunched. I don't remember a start to a season where it's been this kind of tight all the way top to bottom. And of course, the Red Sox are trying to improve their record to make that even more relative. The Yankees lost again today.
In extra innings to Tampa Bay, 5-4. Fermin got hit by that pitch, so he'll get first base. Alex Cora may consider challenging. He's 2 for 3 on challenges this year.
Well, the hitter will tell you everything you need to know about whether you get hit or not.
The call on the field is hit by pitch. Boston is challenging.
And he did not react as if he got hit.
Yeah, that's about as clear and obvious as you'll get. Even he's got a smile. And Wilson Contreras, his old teammate's like, yeah, you're going to have to head back to the dugout here, buddy.
So now the question is, can you change it from a hit batsman to a strike?
And it was 0-2.
Because if it hits the bat,
it would be a strikeout as a foul tip into the glove of Pages. Or for Narvaez, beg your pardon.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The batter is coming back to bat with a 1-2 count.
It'll be 1-2. So a good challenge from Alex Cora. Let's see what this discussion is going to end up being about.
Are they going to try to see that catcher's interference? I don't even know if that's.
Bill Miller is going to have a discussion here, the crew chief, after Marmol came out following the Cora challenge.
I don't think I've seen back-to-back challenges.
I don't think I have either.
I think he's got to be checking if it's catcher's interference, right?
I would think so.
So you go from checking to see if he got hit by a pitch to checking to see if it's catcher's interference, which means the glove hit the bat before the ball or on his way to hit the ball.
This might be certainly the first time you or I have ever seen it. A challenge of the challenge.
So watch the glove and watch the bat. It hits.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. This is going to be this could be a first timer.
A challenge of the challenge. So originally called a hit by pitch, looked to be a foul tip off the bat into the glove, but the bat hitting the glove would potentially indicate catcher's interference. Here's Bill Miller having to sort it all out.
Since the call of hit by pitch was overturned, St. Louis is challenging. It was catcher's interference.
Fascinating.
It would be fascinating because both would be right.
Yeah. Like, you can't blame either manager in that position. Because Marmol would not have challenged it initially. Obviously, it went his batter's way as a hit by pitch, so he would have taken first base.
After review, it was determined it was catcher's interference. So the call is overturned, and the batter will go to first base.
I'm not out of order. You're out of order. Everybody's got a smile on their face, except for Alex Cora. It was like, what the heck, man? I made the right call. You did. But then that changes the result of the previous pitch, which is now up for another review and properly called catcher's interference. I don't know if we've seen that before, but that's definitely the first time you and I have seen that, Johnny.
That's the first time for me.
After all that, a pair of challenges, Fermin gets first on catcher's interference, a man out and a man on. And the Cardinals suddenly have the tying run coming to the plate, and this is what Alec Burleson is available for. Getting a night off tonight as Danny Coulombe, the left-hander, is loosening in the pen. And Burleson is going to come in ready to swing. Of course, they have to leave Weissert in the game to face at least a third batter, which would now be Burleson, who's pinch hitting for Sajaci in the 7th spot. So Narvaez gets the error for catcher's interference. And now Alec Burleson, who's got a home run and 10 RBIs this season, had played in all 13 games until getting his first scheduled night off tonight, but was available for this spot to try to tie the game with one swing against the righty Weissert. First pitch, fastball, a strike. Two 2-0 Red Sox. 1 on, 1 out in the 7th. Burleson flips it foul. 0-2. Two-strike offering, and it's fouled back. Challenged him with a fastball that time. Feels like that middle of the order where Walker and Burleson have been tag teaming. They've done most of the damage this year for the Cardinal offense. 0-2 pitch, and it's low. Ball and 2 strikes. Weissert deals and fouled back. Still 1-2. He's challenged him with a few fastballs in this plate appearance already. Inning we go, game 2 of a 3-game set, and the Red Sox maintain a 2-0 lead behind a Wilson Contreras 2-run 4th inning double and a Ranger Suarez bounce-back performance after 2 rocky starts to begin his Boston tenure. 6 shutout innings so far. And now it will be the heart of the Boston order in the 8th, Jarren Duran. Brule continues his work out of the bullpen with 2 lefties due up in this inning. Duran and then Abreu with the righty Contreras sandwiched in between. Duran will challenge this ball call. ABS challenge powered by T-Mobile coming.
Close the return pitcher strike. Standard count.
A pretty good chunk of the plate there. I don't think we've missed a challenge tonight on either side. Duran fouls it back.
No, and that one's really what the challenge is all about. I mean, the ones that touch the ball barely can go either way, but the ones that are in the heart of the zone that just are missed, which are going to happen from time to time, that's what the challenge was for. Just like instant replay was not for the 1/8 of an inch off the bag tag.
Duran out towards left center. The new center fielder Church racing over the left fielder for Meade will save the play.
Ball's going away from the center fielder, and this ball's coming back towards Fermin. That's why he was able to make this play. If he's left-handed, that's going to be much more difficult of a play, but because his glove hand was on the left side, watch this ball fade back towards the glove hand.
Excellent job by Fermin out in left field. And we'll get a pitching change. Wilson Contreras fouls away the first pitch from Matt Swanson as he comes in to face the man responsible for the only 2 runs in the game. Swanson, his 7th appearance already with a somewhat of a rocky start. Contreras has been hit by a pitch, has hit a 2-run double, and has struck out tonight. The only 2 runs in this game came at the top of the 4th inning when Contreras came to the plate with 2 men on and cracked a first pitch double down the left field line to score both Anthony and Duran for Boston. Facing his former club tonight. Swanson deals a nice fastball on the outer corner for a strike. It's 1-2. Contreras goes fishing. And 2 down here in the 8th inning. A couple of good pitches from Swanson in that at bat.
Tight slider there. I don't know if he thought that was 3 outs or not. Started walking off the mound.
And showing you those defensive changes. Urias moves from first to short, taking over for Sajaci, who was pinch hit for. Burleson stays in at first. Pozo stays in to catch, and Church into center. Fermin made that great play to start this 8th inning to rob Duran of a base hit. Contreras strikes out against Swanson, who now faces another excellent defensive corner outfielder in Abreu, who's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight.
The Cardinals are going to try and find a different way to win this year, and that means they're going to have to pitch it and catch it and have timely hitting. And they've had some comebacks already in the early part of the season.
Abreu ropes it down the right field line, but pulls it just foul. 1-2. As you saw the bullpen with the excellent Garrett Whitlock. The top of the Cardinal order is due up in the bottom of the 8th inning, so they're going to try to generate some offense with some of their better hitters coming up. Shutout so far tonight. Swanson's 1-2 is outside. Had a wild 9-7 win against Tampa Bay to open the season. They had that 6-5 win in the 2nd game of the year. They've already played 3 extra inning games this season. They had to come back after Boston scored first last night. 3-0 in extra innings for the Cardinals this year. 2-2 pitch in the air, well struck, center field. Church has room at the track. And that'll retire the side. Swanson gets the last 2, shaking his head a little bit as he got away with 1. Top of the Cardinal order, down 2-0, coming to the plate. Aviators next Saturday at 4. Orlando Storm and the Birmingham Stallions. Of course, here in St. Louis, they love their Battlehawks. Garrett Whitlock dealing with the top of the Cardinal order. J.J. Weatherholt, who's been heavily involved in some of these early comebacks. Whitlock off to a good start, pitching for the first time since Tuesday against Milwaukee when he threw a scoreless outing. Weatherholt bounces one on the ground to first. Grabbed by Contreras. Whitlock covers, slips a little bit, but his foot was on the bag and making sure he's all right as he gets the first out. So 1 down here in the 8th inning as we welcome you inside our broadcast booth as well. Adam Amin, the Hall of Famer John Smoltz, Ed Svida's here. Ken Rosenthal down in the field. Our great crew. St. Louis came in 3 over 500. Red Sox have been struggling to start their season. But your thoughts as we get our first looks at them this year?
Well, winning baseball games is on the mind of the Red Sox after getting off to a slow start. So this one's kind of an important one early in the season because, you know, let's face it, even though nobody's running away with it, you don't want to get yourself in a hole too early in the year with a young baseball club. And Certainly they have the pitching. I think the Boston Red Sox have the pitching to compete and win a division. It's can their offense get going, and it's been a little struggle for them early in the season.
Contreras responsible for the only 2 runs in this game for Alex Cora's crew. Cardinals have won 3 straight. Red Sox with the slowest start in baseball so far, 4-9 in the first 13 games, and what has been, as John mentioned, a lot of teams beating up on each other. A lot of 500 balls so far being played, other than the Dodgers, who are 7 games over entering action today. It's been a lot of teams right around 7-6, 6-7, like right around that general area to start the season. Ball and 2 strikes on Ivan Herrera, and he goes down swinging on a slider. Grabbed by Narvaez, tossed down to first, and it's 2 up and 2 down in the 8th.
You think about the division that the Red Sox are in, it's probably the toughest division in baseball. Orioles are going to bounce back. The Rays are the Rays. Everyone expects they're not going to do much because they don't spend much or didn't do much, and all of a sudden, you know, here they are winning baseball games again. So
Jordan Walker puts a charge into 1. Rafaela back at the wall. Walker, his 6th of the year, finally cracks the scoreboard for St. Louis.
we showed you a graphic of where his home runs were hit. That's about the height of them. They're all been up and in the zone, and when the ball's up to a man that strong, you don't get it back.
Of course, it would be Walker, St. Louis's hottest and best hitter in the early part of the season, with a major league leading 6th home run already. Now on a 7-game hit streak.
Is it too early to do the most overrated statement in baseball? On pace for.
Oh gosh, I don't even feel like doing the math right now. 1-1 to Gorman. Big fastball there from the hard-throwing Whitlock. Gorman swings through. It's 1-2. St. Louis needed a spark, and sure enough, of course, it would be Jordan Walker, who has been the go-to guy in the first couple of weeks of the season. That's flipped down the left field line. It's going to fall foul. Still 1-2 on Gorman.
I'm going to say he's on pace to set a record.
So far 6 in 14 games, not too bad. Gorman goes down swinging. Jordan Walker, an up and down start to his career, but he has found the stroke. Still Swanson facing Trevor Story to start the 9th inning. Boston scored 2 runs in the 4th inning. St. Louis had been shut out until Jordan Walker with a late arrival on a Saturday night. But a timely one to get St. Louis on the board. It's 2-1. Story takes inside. Meyer and then Narvaez to follow for Boston as they try to answer back. And then in the bottom of the 9th, Urias, Fermin, and Burleson, who pinch hit in the 7th inning, would be due up. You know who's looming in the bullpen for the Boston Red Sox, of course, though, with 3 outs to get. Story draws a 4-pitch leadoff walk. There is the flame-throwing southpaw. Aroldis Chapman awaits. Meyer has walked twice and has a base hit. Aboard all 3 times tonight. 1. Correct. Foul, 1-1. Marcelo Meyer, the number 4 pick in 2021, made his major league debut 11 months ago. Was unable to play in the WBC because of that surgically repaired wrist. The injury he suffered last summer.
Always a tough thing for hitters, man. Trust you're healthy and trust you can use it the way you need to generate power.
Story at first. Meyer fouls it. Came out of Eastlake High School in Chula Vista. A bunch of first-round picks have come out of there. Keone Cavaco a couple of years ago, and then of course Adrian Gonzalez, the Boston Red Sox, number 1 overall pick in 2000. Meyer sends it the other way to left for Mean, all the way towards the line, makes the catch. He flags it down for the first out. Story back to first base. Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative, appropriate for these two teams to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play the great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, scan the QR code or go to playball.org and follow Play Ball on X, Facebook, and Instagram. There's Narvaez. Made his major league debut a couple of years ago with the New York Yankees. Kind of a castaway from New York who found himself a home and a pretty solidified position behind the plate for the Red Sox.
What do the Yankees have, like a mold on catchers? They sent a bunch in their trades and developed a bunch.
1-1 on Narvaez. Spent 9 years in the Yankees system. Never really had the pedigree that other guys have had. Was never considered one of the top 30 prospects. Austin Wells, one of those guys that they developed, was already there. But he appreciates what they did for him in the Bronx to help develop him, and he was excellent last year. Stories back to the backseat.
Probably for the first 3 quarters of the season was overproducing at the plate. There's going to be some leveling of that a little bit, but
Waves and misses at a fastball, 1-2. This kid earned everything he got as he was banging his way through the Yankees system, trying to find consistent opportunity. There goes Story, big jump, but it's lifted foul, and Story will head back to first base. Narvaez had kind of hit a crossroads in that Yankee system. Been there for a long time, about 7-8 years, and wasn't making a ton of money. And was sending home whatever he could. On a good month, it was about $400 to his parents every single month. He was playing in the Winter League in Venezuela, his home country, to try to make ends meet. Nice stop behind the plate by Pozo. He was working hard in the United States while his parents were back in Venezuela, a country that was dealing with an economic collapse at the time. His parents finally got visas 4 years ago, and they were able to reunite 2 years ago. Now here he is in the big leagues, making a name for himself as a two-way player. Another check to first, another disengagement on Story. That's 2, and he's back in again. He's taken his time to connect with his pitching staff. Johnny, I know you'll appreciate it. He's taken his pitchers out for golf outings, learned that game, try to connect with some of the guys that he has to take care of all season long. Story's going to take off again on the ground, and the shortstop Urias had shifted over to try to cover the second base bag. Perfect timing, perfect execution, and Story goes first to third as Narvaez reaches for the second consecutive time.
I mean, he had such a jump. The shortstop can't even think about the jump being so big. He is never going to get him out at second, but you got to react. And typically when there is a hit and run on or trying to steal a base, you normally, when the ball's hit to the left field, you can kind of keep the runner at second, but because he had such a big jump, he easily got to third.
So now Rafaela, who was hit by a pitch in his last trip to the plate, will come up with runners at the corners, and another visit from Dusty Blake to check in with Swanson. Leadoff walk to Story. Retired Meyer on a fly out to left. A single from Narvaez, and Story with the base running goes first to third.
Well, one thing that the Red Sox are really good at, not so sure they'll pull it off here, but this is the play when you want to add a run, first and third, you get the safety squeeze, and that play is where the third base runner gets to read. It's not a suicide squeeze, meaning he's not taking off and then trusting the hitter's going to put it in play. You put it in play first, and there's no way to defend it. If you bunt this ball towards the first base side between the pitcher and the first baseman, they can't stop the run from scoring.
Saw the defensive alignment as Rafaela's at the plate. First pitch swinging past the second baseman Weatherholt. That'll drive in an insurance run. Boston answers back. Story scores, and the Red Sox manufacture a key run here in the ninth inning. Yeah. Another rocket, 105 off the bat of Rafaela.
Yeah, and whatever they talked about, the doubt or the ability for him to do this, was answered right there with the first swing. Right up the middle, and now a chance to extend that lead.
They answer the Walker home run with the Rafaela RBI out of the 9 spot. His 5th of the season, and now back to the top for Roman Anthony. Just added cushion for Aroldis Chapman. He should be ready to go. He's already got 3 saves this year. That's muscled into center field. Anthony with a base hit. Stopping at third, Narvaez. He'll get the stop sign there. Station to station baseball for the Red Sox. 3 consecutive base runners, and 4 of the 5 in this 9th inning have reached, and they're loaded up for Durbin. Some of the strength of Anthony being shown that time. Romy Gonzalez, the last Red Sox with a grand slam. Durbin does not have a home run this year. He's 0 for 4 tonight. Ball 1 outside. The Red Sox being aggressive. They got 3 hits in a 4-pitch stretch against Swanson here in the 9th.
Well, they got another guy loosening up just in case the Red Sox get a few more runs, and that they don't have to go to Chapman.
A base hit could potentially get the Red Sox out of a safe spot. There's the base hit. In from third, Narvaez. Coming around is Rafaela indeed. That is the case. Durbin drives in a pair. And the Red Sox coming through big in the 9th inning.
.20 pitch, he can sell out for the fastball, and he did.
frustration from Swanson. It's 5-1 Boston. And if Alex Cora wishes, he can have Chapman sit down, as Boston has come up with 3 key runs here in the 9th. Duran will take a cutter out of the zone. 2-0. And Chapman's not even throwing right now. We got Watson loosening up. Ryan Watson, the right-hander. Big cut from Duran. 2-1. Ground foul. 2-2 on Duran. Red Sox have scored 5 runs a handful of times already this season, but haven't had the wins to show for it. Just 4-9, but a nice showing tonight from all angles. Strong defense this evening. Ranger Suarez was excellent, getting some key hits down the stretch, as Jared Schuster's loosening up now behind Swanson, who has labored and struggled in the 9th. Two, 3-2. Exactly the formula that the Red Sox need.
Yeah, the surprising start, of course, but just 1 win on the road. And they're going to play better at home because that park, they're built for that park.
Yep. Duran the other way. That's through the left side. A base hit. Anthony comes across. Durbin is safe at second. The line keeps on moving for the Red Sox. A 4-run 9th and a 6-1 Boston lead. A good at bat work by Duran. Now Contreras. And Swanson just in there right now. That's his 41st pitch since coming in the 8th inning. Got the Contreras strikeout and the Abreu flyout to close the 8th. Since then, this 9th inning has not been very good for Swanson tonight. And Ollie Marmol, knowing that the Cardinals still have a chance potentially to win the series tomorrow, assuming this score holds, is leaving Swanson in there to eat it right now. On the ground, and Urias had started towards the second base bag, had to recover going back towards the hole. A run scores in Durbin. Contreras drives in his 3rd of the night, and it's all Red Sox in the late innings now. And that's going to be enough to get Marmol out there to take Swanson out. A 5-run 9th, and the Sox fans in St. Louis are feeling it. Against the Cardinal bullpen, which now turns to Jared Schuster, who's in mop-up duty now. This thing got out of hand quickly in favor of Boston. Here is Abreu. That's up and in. Originally, that Contreras knock was called an error.
Yeah, there's no way.
They did change it, rightfully so, to a hit. So that is reflected here in the 9th inning. A 6-hit, 5-run 9th inning. After Leahy, Graceffo, Brule, and Swanson in his 1st inning, and held just Contreras to that 2-run double. Since then, a big 9th inning against Swanson. Now Schuster trying to clean it all up. thought that would have been a very tough error on Urias on a hard hit ball. So
Yeah.
rightfully so a hit.
He was shading on the pitch going towards second base. Could he have gotten it? Yes, but he didn't touch it. So when you don't touch it and it's hit that hard, it's got to be a hit. Like he was going the other shifting, and the ball was hit so hard the chance to make that play had to be precise.
So it's 6 straight singles now for Boston. On the ground to first. That's picked off nicely by Burleson. He'll throw to second to get that runner. That'll be Contreras out for the second out. And that'll bring up the man who started this inning in Trevor Story. Let's go down to our man on the field and Ken Rosenthal.
Adam, Red Sox Nation has been in an understandable panic over the team's 4-9 start, but a win tonight, a win tomorrow, the win for the series over the Cardinals. Then they go to Minnesota. And then after that, home against Detroit and the Yankees. So perhaps with a win tonight, that would make 3 or 4. They're starting to build a little bit of momentum.
As we said, it is so hard to determine what a team is going to be in the first couple of weeks, obviously. Story takes ball 1. And again, it never seems like there's any panic in most big leaguers and most big league managers this early in the season. And that certainly was not the case with Alex Cora and company.
No, I mean, you know how long the season is, but certain markets just don't deal with it very well. And when Boston came up short last year, and certainly a lot of components led to that, they made some moves in the offseason that I thought really helped their team and gives them a chance to be in the mix for winning a division. I mean, the Yankees came out of the gate, what, 9-2, and they've stumbled a little bit. It's all going to work itself out. Toronto stumbled early. I think they lost 6 in a row.
Yep.
Now they've kind of gotten right in the ship.
Tigers have gotten off to a bit of a rocky start after their appearance in the division series last year. Cal Raleigh hasn't gotten off to a great start for Seattle.
Whoa, that's
at times.
surprising. I mean, he wasn't on track in the WBC, and he certainly never got back on track to start the season. A lot of strikeouts.
Story into right, Walker in, and that'll retire the side. Cardinals trailed by 1. Well, that being said, the Mariners are in action right now, and maybe a better sign, Cal Raleigh literally just homered against the Astros to give them a 2-0 lead. So that's a good start tonight for Cal, who's trying to bounce back. Here is Ramon Urias facing Ryan Watson, who comes in with a 6-run lead. Chapman was ready to go in a save situation as he continues his march towards the top 10 in Major League history. But none doing tonight as the offense gives him a breather. And Watson's quickly ahead of Urias, 0-2. Chapman could put his feet up and relax. 370 saves, 11th all time. Still getting it done with that high velocity at age 38. One-two pitch to Urias is down and away. Of course, Aroldis Chapman was in this ballpark plenty. He began his career with the Cincinnati Reds. Obviously, that short stint en route to a World Series with the Cubs. Long time with the Yankees and a couple of stints. Pittsburgh as well 2 seasons ago. Durbin makes the play. 1 away to retire Urias. Now his 2nd season with Boston, as we said, 370 saves. Go back to number 1. It came here at Busch Stadium. And he lit the world on fire in Major League Baseball with that gas. And there is the man he got in John Jay, sitting in that Cardinal dugout now. Away for Mean.
I was told something today that I just can't believe.
What do you got?
I am the answer to an incredible statistic.
Deep dive. Past Story. That'll be for me to board with one out here in the 9th inning. This was courtesy of the St. Louis Cardinals PR department. They were kind enough to look this up.
And if you were to ask 1,000 people, I don't think anybody would get it. But the question is, who's the only player? Well, I already gave it away.
Well, yeah. This is Jeopardy. You gave the answer first. Now here's the question.
Who's the only player to play for only the Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, and the Boston Red Sox? I was told it was me.
It was confirmed earlier today by Matthew of the excellent St. Louis Cardinals PR staff. Came over to us in the clubhouse. Mike Whitty came over to us in the clubhouse when we were getting ready to meet with Ollie Marmol today and say, hey, I got something for you. Bouncing ball to Meyer. Flipped a Story for one. Burleson will beat it out. And an extra life here for St. Louis in the 9th inning. There he is. One extra season.
One extra one that I would love to. I'd love to have back for Boston. I was not good at all. Coming back from shoulder surgery. Finished pretty good with St. Louis. I was happy to play for those two organizations. They treated me like I had been there forever. And I'll never forget it. But man, oh man, would I like to have.
Church gets it.
I would like to have that Boston opportunity back.
8 appearances as a starter. Made 7 with the Cardinals that season. Ken Rosenthal, what do you got?
John, on your list of accomplishments, your many accomplishments in your career, where does this one rank?
I think it's number 1. I mean, mainly because I had nothing to do with it.
I mean, you spent two decades with one organization. All of a sudden, you go to 2 in 1 season.
Yeah. No, I didn't think it was possible to raise your career ERA when you've had over 3,000 innings. I moved it a record amount in a short period of time with Boston. It went from
3.26 with Atlanta,
and it went up like to 3. Well, it went up higher.
It went to like 3.5.
Yeah.
When you're with your 8 starts with the Red Sox.
I mean, I have an 8-point-something ERA in Boston.
You got it down to like 4+ with St. Louis in your 7 starts with the Cardinals that year.
So I figured with all 3. I finished with all 3s. 3.33.
3.33. That's right. Final strike for the Cardinals. Watson trying to close it out. Little tapper. He will cover the bag. Flipped by Contreras. The former Cardinal helps close it out for the Red Sox with a 3 RBI night. 5 in the 9th inning for Boston. And suddenly that 2-8 start is starting to fade a little bit after 3 wins in the last 4 games for the Red Sox.
Well, they're going to feel good about this. They got a chance to win the series, but more importantly, they put some runs on the board.
Able to put up 10 hits, 7 runs. Excellent start from Ranger Suarez tonight. 6 shutout innings in his best of 3 starts in his Boston Red Sox tenure. Cardinals took the first game Friday night 3-2. Red Sox with a big late inning surge behind the former Cardinal Contreras win it 7-1 tonight. And the rubber game tomorrow here from Busch Stadium. For John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal, the wonderful women and men of our Fox crew, I'm Adam Amin saying good night from St. Louis. Mike